Warning: the following program contains adult language, adult themes, and spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of This Week's Episode. It's the week of October 14th, 2021. This is episode 239, and I am your host, Kris Randazzo. Not joining me tonight is incoming Flux, Karen Randazzo. I'm upstairs and I'm really sick and I'm sorry I couldn't be there. No worries, honey.
Spot on.
90s themed spin-off, Angie Fernot.
You're a wizard, Harry.
And Night Court Judge, Evan Goldstein.
Holy vampires, Batman.
Tonight, Doctor Who gets a new old showrunner. Shira comes to life. One of the best TV shows in history gets a new lease on life, and more. But first, how the higgity heck are you?
I know what show you're referring to, by the way. Well played,
You're damn
sir.
right. Chung chung.
I thought it was Night Court. I'm sorry.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Night Court's some solid stuff, but it's no D.A. Jack McCoy.
That's very true. Very, very true.
It ain't no law and it ain't no order.
Goddamn right. That show is so good. I've been rewatching it still. Was I starting to rewatch it while I talked about this last time on the show. I'm still watching it while I work. I was actually just watching it when I came down here to set up. I had an episode queued up on the Plex, and I was just watching a little bit more of it. I'm in season 3 now. It's still Soretta and Logan as the cops, but Paul Sorvino is going to get shot in a couple episodes. And then we're going to get Jerry motherfucking Orbach in there.
Yeah.
And then we get Lenny Briscoe, and it's like Lenny Briscoe and Detective Logan are like one of my favorite pairings because like I always thought Chris Noth is awesome, and like it was super cool getting this like one season of him and Jerry Orbach together before Chris Noth eventually moved on from the show. And then we got, who was his first partner? They didn't go right over to Jesse Martin, did they? Oh, now I'm drawing a blank. Well, I'll find out in a little bit. Anyway, yeah, what's new with you guys?
We are highly amused by your your sickly babblings.
Yes, I'm a tad under the weather, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm a bit stuffy. I'm really tired. Like really tired, and I may or may not cough, but depending on Evan's editing skills, you might not even notice.
Yeah, get ready for lots of coughing.
There's going to be lots of coughing if Chris coughs a lot.
Evan's got a new job. Editing is now second.
Unfortunately. I did get SAG done this afternoon, though. I'm very proud of myself. Squeezed that hour and 45-minute bad boy out, so we're good.
I'm proud of you too, Evan. I edited the new episode of A Theater Near You at about 4 o'clock this morning.
See, the things we do for Geekade, people just don't understand.
Sacrifices, people.
This stuff is
Sacrifices.
easy. Anywho.
I just get to sit here and sound awesome.
Not even Mystery Science Theater, not even Tron worked. Like
really,
nothing was putting me to sleep, man. It was just like, no, there is way too much snot coming out of every orifice on your head, and you're just not going to sleep. And
you're
I'm like,
drowning in your own fluids.
I need sleep to get better. Like if I don't have sleep, then I don't get better. And my head's just like, nah, fuck you. You're snot. I'm dealing with this. I'm too busy to sleep. What's too busy to sleep mean? It's your job, body.
All you're supposed
Knock
to
it
be
off.
doing.
Your body is rebelling.
My body's a piece of shit, but
I mean, hon, you're just getting back to normal too. Like,
yeah, I'm finally. I went for an hour. Technically, it was 1 hour of walking today, which is the most I've walked in almost a month and a half. A month? I don't know.
Yeah.
Time is a concept. So yeah, I definitely am feeling a little bit better, but normally you guys, I don't know if anyone has ever realized that I stand usually when we're recording. I am not doing that tonight.
Usually you run a mile, or it's like you walked and you know, heart rate was up and whatnot. So
yeah, and my average like walking heart rate with a little bit of a hustle is like 120 5 beats per minute, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Per second.
You have a problem.
I'm a hummingbird.
Either that or you're a hamster. I don't know.
Like sometimes it feels like that. Give me a wheel. But yeah, today
I
it
gotta
was not.
invest in a human-sized hamster wheel. Not to throw things too offbeat, but like, it's been raining here for the last couple of days, and like, it just got to the point where my daughter Ellie was just she finished dinner, and then she grabbed a bunch of couch cushions and made a pile, and then she would run across the room, flop onto a chair, and then jump off the chair into the pillows, and then run a circle around the living room again, do the same thing over and over again. Like, they just need to get energy out, and they don't know what else to do with it. If I had a giant hamster wheel,
Problem solved.
shit would be golden. Problem solved. Sorry to interrupt. Back to business.
Listen, that's parenting 101, guys. Get your kid a hamster wheel.
Yeah. They get stir crazy. They start vibrating for all the extra energy they have, and they just got to expel it in some way, shape, or form. That's why the floor originally became lava. That's why pillows became forts. This tale is old as time.
What does it mean if you're an adult who still likes pillow forts? Just curious.
You're doing something right.
Oh, yeah. All
You're
right.
human. Pillow forts rule.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have any children as an excuse.
I'm trying to remember how far back to talk about like the things that we have watched.
Oh, I've been catching up on some stuff like that isn't Bones. Ha.
Ooh, okay, go.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Now you threw me for a loop. I didn't expect to be put on the spot here.
Here to do. Honey.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I just didn't think it was my turn. Okay. So I finished Bones. Yay, it's over. I moved on. I will say my commentary on the end of this series is well done. I stuck it out. Like, you did a good enough job with your formula that even with all of its predictability, I still enjoyed the end of the ride.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool. And I started watching Lovecraft Country again.
Right.
Holy crap, there's a lot of stuff happening in that show, and most of it makes no sense. I was watching it in the background while I was working the last couple days, and don't ask me about the plot, guys, because when I work and watch, it's kind of not a priority. I'm pretty sure that's the reason I'm still on board with the show, because it's gone fucking everywhere. Maybe it's because I don't know like the lore that I am so beyond confused about the direction the show has taken, but you know, whatever, I'm enjoying the ride. It's fine. I think I'm on the last episode. I didn't get to finish it yet today. But I don't even know, like, there's got to be another season, maybe. I would think the way they're setting it up, there ought to be.
Did they? Because he went over to the MCU, didn't he?
Well, then, just
kidding.
kidding.
What are we talking about?
Lovecraft Country. He's the guy that
Who's in
showed
the
up.
MCU?
He became Kang, didn't he?
Oh, that was that guy?
If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I barely remember this show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is that guy. At least I think it looks like him.
Oh, Kris is amusement.
What is that guy's name?
We will not be moving forward with the second season of Lovecraft Country. Oh, HBO said in a statement.
Okay, well, there you go.
He's got
why am
better
I
things to
watching
do.
this then? Why do I make these
He's
decisions?
king of the world.
I hate you.
Everything.
King of the world.
That one's not mine. That was this guy, Eddie, who used to work with at the comic book store. He would crack me up. We had a little bust of Kang, and he'd be like, go over to the counter and be like, look at me, I'm Kang. I'm Kang of the world. I'm Kang of this case. I'm Kang. It was funny. Made me
Spot
laugh.
on. Yet again, man. Your impressions tonight are fantastic.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
We just need to capture
you're
this.
welcome.
Just bottle it. It's wonderful. Yeah. So anyway, going back, I've been watching Love on the Spectrum. The second season is currently out, so that's been really cool. They brought back some of the participants.
I'm just thinking of Lovecraft on the Spectrum.
Oh God,
Completely different show.
Very
that
different show.
would be amazing. yeah, I don't want to say too much about Lovecraft Country just because, like, with no one else having watched, I feel like there's not too much that I should say that anyone's going to care about. But I am curious to know if any of our listeners have watched it and what their thoughts have been. Just because, like I said, it goes fucking everywhere. Like, this show has had so many weird plot twists and turns. But I went back to Love on the Spectrum for season 2, so hopefully some of the characters that did not find their special someone last season will find their special someone this season.
Nice.
And it's really cute and charming, and it just makes me happy to watch.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those, like, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's for people in Australia on the autism spectrum. It's them trying to find love, like their journeys branching out into their romantic side. And some of them, I think in the first season, most of the participants had, like, never been on a date before. And they also have a coach who comes in. She's kind of like a life and dating coach that works with them and helps them to communicate. And, you know, one of the things that they get nervous about is, like, a lot of times on the autism spectrum, you have to learn, like, it's not the same kind of learning where you naturally can figure out how to engage with someone. Like, you have to very carefully study how to work with a person in a conversation and ask open-ended questions instead of just yes or no questions. And it's thinking of things to talk about when they get nervous, like they just completely shut down. And it's a very different experience for them. And I think it's just really nice that there is a show that's celebrating their uniqueness and their neurodivergence in such a respectful way. And I hope that it's the kind of show that people watch and that it makes them more patient with or understanding of other neurodivergent people in their life. But yeah, it's just a really lovely, heartwarming series.
Nice.
And those are the two things that I've really been watching without you. I think
right.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, we
Man,
have been watching a couple of things together, so
Yeah, I felt like my list was so much longer. It wasn't.
Once we start saying the communal things, I mean, I started because of her watching Bones and wanting to get some more David Boreanaz into my life.
I started watching Skins.
I checked out an episode of SEAL Team, which is David Boreanaz's current show.
What? I've never even heard of this.
Yeah, he's a member of like a SEAL team, like not the military SEAL team.
Oh, okay. That's
like
way less interesting than what I was imagining.
Right. I knew that's why I had to explain.
Did you picture him like in a SEAL costume, or like what was going through your head here?
Costume.
I thought it was maybe like a CG animated show or something like that. Maybe something Family Guy style.
They're playing basketball for some reason. It's okay. I mean, it's David doing his thing. This is military based, so it's very procedural.
Do you think he goes by Dave or David? I just feel like David is so formal.
Well, that's his actor name.
Yeah.
He's a pretty. I think he's a formal guy. I think he's the kind of dude that would insist on being called David. I think if you call him Dave, he might actively slap you or something.
Just not respond at all.
He has a glove in his pocket just for such an occasion. Like he's ready.
What if I was into that?
Then I say, go for it, young lady.
Nice.
Hello, Dave.
Thank you. May I have another?
Name of our podcast. What?
So that didn't really. I didn't get engaged very much with that, so I said I'm going to go back to an old staple, and I'm going to do a rewatch that because Angela was doing the rewatch of Bones, and I would bounce in every once in a while and watch a couple of episodes with her, and then I would just peace out. I didn't really matter to me. I'm doing that with her now with Angel, because I'm going to do a full rewatch of that, and she'll pop in whenever she wants to.
Yeah, which I think is such a great opportunity.
Boreanazing all over the place here, huh?
Yeah, but this is good. Like, I'm actually genuinely excited about this because I've never watched all of Angel. I've seen it sporadically. I remember the Muppet episode, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't seen all of Angel either. We did all of Buffy not that long ago. I mean, yeah, when I say not that long ago, like the grand scheme of things, what is it? Probably like 10 years ago or
Right.
so. We did it before John was born. Because I had never seen Buffy before, so that was a unique experience. I didn't hate it. I didn't love all of it, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was a good time. But then we started like kind of watching a little bit of Angel, and I was like, yeah, I don't know.
It's more of the same, just it's just a different slice of it.
Yeah,
What I did
I think I had enough.
Yeah. What I did find out though is that there is no high-res version of it. Like, you can't get a 1080p version of Angel, and that is because Buffy the Vampire Slayer fucked all that up. Apparently, when they up-resed Buffy for the Blu-ray release and whatnot.
Oh no, the widescreen thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that was tragic.
Yeah. So, for those that don't understand, when they up-resed Buffy, a show was originally aired in standard definition, but they filmed it in widescreen. But because they were airing it in standard, they didn't give a shit about the sides of the picture. So granted,
Yeah, they filmed it in widescreen with the intent of cutting it down to full screen. So
Yes.
there's like cameras and shit on the side, and they're like, fuck it, throw it in there.
And as opposed to cutting it, like boxing it for, a 11 by 17. No, not 11 by 17. What is it? 4 by 16, whatever it is, the ratio.
16 by 9?
16
This
by
is
9.
really
That's
fun
it.
to listen
Like,
to, though.
I was thinking about the paper.
It's
What are
4 by 3.
numbers?
16 by 9 is widescreen. 4 by 3 is standard.
Right.
I wasn't going to say anything because it was really fun listening to you. Fun.
As opposed to cutting the standard down to make it fit the right proportions, they used the shit version. And they actually released that. And people were like, what the fuck are you doing? This is horrible. So they didn't do it with Angel. So the best I can get is like a 480. And that's barely DVD release. But
I would abso-fucking-lutely love a version of Buffy where you're watching it and you see someone like jump off screen, because they got caught on
there.
camera.
It's
I
there.
That's what it is.
want
It's-
that in my life.
it's not like you see boom mics, you see things, and it's not all the time. It's just most of the time. Like, it's more than it should.
Kind of like when I saw that shadow on screen the other day. I was so proud of catching that
you
too.
caught something that you weren't
Yeah.
supposed to be able to
It's
see.
like the exact reverse of the problem they had with The Simpsons when they
Right.
put it on Disney Plus.
Right.
It's like, this show was full screen. You don't have to try and make it widescreen. I had a similar situation with my fucking Dragon Ball box sets up there. That show was not in widescreen.
Okay.
And they released the only DVDs you could buy of that show for the longest time were in forced widescreen. And it was like,
Pan it again?
I hate you so much. No, the opposite of Pan Scan. It was just crunched. They just sliced the top and the bottom off it to shove a full screen image into widescreen, so it filled the whole screen. And I'm looking at it like, where's the rest of his head? What is wrong with you?
This is so
You did
not
the-
right.
Dragon Ball's not a short series. They did it for the whole goddamn
Yeah,
series.
5,927 episodes of that show.
Like, they took the time to do that. They're like, it's remastered for widescreen. Like, they intelligently thought about, like, how are we going to cut all of these screens to make them full widescreen? I'm like, you don't. Just fucking deal with it. What is wrong with you? Give me the whole picture.
Terrible.
Looney Tunes.
It's terrible.
I checked out an episode of the new Wonder Years. I was
Oh, yeah. I've been hearing good
pleasantly
things about that.
surprised. It was good. Gus from what's his name?
Psych.
Of Psych played a great dad. Be cool. That was his catchphrase. They're paying attention to the whole race situation in that time period, which is great. But they're not. It's not super heavy in the first episode. It's there and it's very apparent.
For anyone who wants the name, it's Dule Hill, by the way.
Dule Hill. Yeah, sorry. It's
he's from West Wing for me. But
that's true. I
what
apologize.
year
That's-
is this
yeah, for
again? Is this the
context.
80s?
69.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, it's all the way back in. When was the original one set?
It was set in the 60s.
Huh. For some reason, I thought this was supposed to be like in a more modern time.
No, that was the
All
thing,
right.
that they were doing it back then, and the story doesn't play out the same because now it's for an African American family.
Yeah, it's a pretty different life back then than Fred Savage and
Right, but
Yeah.
it doesn't feel that awkward. Like I expected it to be really uncomfortable, and it wasn't. It was entertaining. It was sweet and cute, like the original Wonder Years. I wanted to hear that the original theme song. They did not play it. I'll have to deal with that. I'm gonna actually continue to watch it. I'm gonna check out and see where it goes because the cast was great. They did a great job. So yeah. What else? I watched an episode of what was that one with the with Loki and House. The night manager.
Oh my God. Okay, so again, Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie. So yeah.
Way to get my hopes up.
There you go.
Jesus. Yeah, I had to think hard about that one for a second. I was like, when the hell were they together?
I came across this show. I don't even know when it was from, but I wish I had it. Yeah, 2016. But what happened is I saw the cover of it, and it was those two front and center. I'm like, yeah, I got to check this out. It's about a former British soldier who is the night manager at a hotel, a number of different hotels.
Really thought you were about to say a Lowe's.
No. When did this take place? Because you said
during the Arab Spring.
During the Arab Spring.
So I think the initial setting was in Egypt in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, is when the first hotel location, like basically where the story starts for the viewers is in Egypt in 2011.
Yeah, and he's thwarting like arms deals and whatnot. Like it was like really interesting. So there's another thing that I'm going to continue to watch. I don't know how many. I think there's one season of it. I didn't do a deep dive. I just saw it. I'm like, hey, let me check this out and see if it's worth watching. And now it is. So I'm going to watch more of that. I think finally the last thing that we both have been watching has been Midnight Mass.
And Only Murders in the Building.
Oh, we caught up on Only Murders in the Building, too. Yeah, we finished that. No, well, we're up to date. I thought it was over in episode 8. We have one more episode coming.
And we were caught up. We watched the end of Ted Lasso.
Didn't we do that last week?
Before the last recording?
No.
No, we didn't talk about that yet.
No.
I mean, we talked about it online, but we haven't actually had that
okay.
discussion yet.
So you know what it was? We did speak about it, but I thought it was the last episode. We still had 2 episods to go. We talked about it during the funeral episode. Yeah. So we could talk about that real quick.
Spoiler alert, Nate sucks.
Such a douche. Yeah.
How do you feel about him, Kris?
I want very badly for him to have a redemption arc. I don't think we're going to get it. And I think it's going to be that show's way of saying you can't save everybody.
I agree.
I feel for the guy. He's doing this because he hates himself. Like he spits on himself in the mirror and shit all the time. Like he's
despise
not doing
that,
this because
by the way.
he genuinely believe he doesn't genuinely believe the shit that he's saying. He's doing all this because he hates himself and he's trying to prove himself to his dad who thinks he's a failure and stuff. Like I posted a thing when Evan posted on Facebook about the whole Nate situation.
You sent that thing that you sent to me privately?
Did I send it to you or did I post it on your
Oh, I thought you messaged it to me.
I think I put it on the post
that
you had written about it. Let me see if I can find it. So the actor who played Nate posted something on Twitter. This was fascinating. Yeah, I posted it on your wall.
Okay.
Nick Mohammed. The character became relatively, somewhat hateable during the whole thing, but also like I really felt for him because he hated himself. And I remember the whole bit where the thing with what's his name? Roy not being upset that he kissed Keely like at all.
Yeah.
And like I understand why he's taking those things. So I'm just I'll just blow through this because, fly the walk not, right? We're here. Let's live the dream. So he posted this, which was really interesting because when at the end of this episode, when he was yelling at Ted for abandoning him, me and Karen, like, what the hell is he on about? Like, that's what I don't understand. When did he feel like Ted abandoned him? All right. this I just found fascinating. These are all things that the actor said about Nate. One, the first time we ever see Nate, he's shouting at Ted. So the first time we ever see Nate, that's what he's doing. The roast from season 1 is fun and taken in good spirits, but you can see how much of a kick Nate gets out of laying into the players. It's payback time, right? Because the players had always been digging into him. So he has like a taste for revenge. When Nate first believes he's been fired at the end of season 1, he turns on Rebecca and calls her a shrew at first glimpse into his nasty side. The hair color change was deliberate. I have flecks of gray that were painted out in season 1 and were painted more and more gray as season 2 progressed. It's a wig by the very end. Thanks to Nikki Austin and Alexis Dolman for making this happen. In the way bitterness, guilt, shame, and stress can often change someone's appearance, they thought it would be fun to track Nate's spiral in this way. In my head, Nate was transforming into Jose. I don't know who that is. A lot of the key beats in Nate's season 2 journey are unheard, unseen, or dialogue free, but they were all scripted, including the spitting. Yuck. Speaking of which, when Nate spits, he's both physically and metaphorically spitting at himself. Deep down, I think/hope he hates what he's becoming, though whether he will truly be redeemed, I genuinely don't know. The opening and closing shots of season 2 are the same, but in the final shot, the light in Nate's eyes has supposedly gone out, also scripted. The only scene solely between Ted and Nate in season 2 is in episode 12. The last scene before this was when Ted apologized for snapping at Nate in season 1, just before Nate delivered the roast in episode 7. Brilliant job by the writers on showing rather than telling just how abandoned Nate feels. That was the one that got me. It never occurred to me that the two of them didn't do a single scene together throughout this entire season.
See, I noticed that because I kept being like, why are they never alone together? That's interesting.
It never even got to me. Anyway, similarly, when Beard calls Nate out on his behavior against Colin in episode 7, Nate's first reaction is to ask whether he told Ted. Ted is largely unaware of Nate's downfall until he receives the text at the end of episode 11. Not to condone Nate's subsequent behavior or attitude, but season 2 is jam full of microaggressions against Nate, from Ted laughing at the prospect of Nate being a big dog, to Roy not being bothered that Nate made an inappropriate move on Keeley, to him not receiving an espresso machine. The latter for me is a great example of jokes having consequences, which Jason has spoken a lot about. It feels like a joke, and is essentially played that way in the scene, but you know this is the kind of stuff that's ripping Nate in two. The picture that Nate gave Ted for Christmas is next to Ted's picture of his son at home, which we get a glimpse of as Ted is getting ready for the funeral and before his panic attack. I recall this being one of Bill Lawrence's ideas, a typically emotional beat, from a while ago, and it devastated me when he first told me about it. Also, when Brendan Hunt casually told me their plans to have the Believe sign being ripped in two, I fell on the floor and screamed. Once again, here are the names of the phenomenal writing team: Ashley Nicole Black, Brendan Hunt, Joe Kelly, Phoebe Walsh, Brett Goldstein, Jane Becker, Bill Lawrence, Jason Sudeikis, Leanne Brown, Jamie Lee, Bill Rubel, and Sasha Garin.
That's crazy.
Fascinating.
It really is.
What's
I
fun
love
is that
how
some
they-
of my friends have been like like my friend Joe was posting about just like a week before about how what's his name, the guy from the Independent, like he would never have done that. Like it didn't make any sense for him to have done that, and then like it was directly addressed in the following episode that it was like he did that on purpose and then threw away his job because he didn't want to do this anymore. It was fascinating. Like the show just does not stop impressing me. Even when I start to think that maybe it's not, then it just pulls this thing out from underneath my feet. Like, no, we've been doing this shit the whole time. You're so good. This show is so good.
And you could tell it's that good by the way you feel watching it. Like it's sly, like it's sneaky with it, with how good it actually is, because it's at the end of the episode you want more, but at the same time you want to think about what you just watched because of how good it made you feel or how much it made you think, kind of thing. Like there was a complete episode that had nothing to do with the storyline about Beard's night out. That was an amazing episode.
Yeah.
It was a throwaway episode, but it was an amazing episode. It delved into the character that the I guess you could call it the character that Beard is. And you don't get that in, regular good shows nowadays. So
And I can't say enough about how they always do what you would sort of hope a good writer would do. And I think you guys have, heard me talk about that, where like, I'm always like, God, why does this character have to do this thing? And then the character doesn't do that thing. Like, I expected, instead of Rebecca like having character growth in season 1 and actually becoming like a truly likable human being and owning up to her mistakes, I expected them to do something where they were just like, nah, I haven't learned my lesson yet. It's going to take me longer than that. And like, that's the kind of writing that we're accustomed to now in so many shows. They never do the thing I expect them to do. And like, that has kept this show so compelling. And I am constantly finding myself rooting for characters in ways that I don't do on a television show. I don't, you get emotionally invested in the characters and the story because you enjoy it. But like, this is a whole other level. I mean, this is really, truly, I can't think of anything that I've seen that is written in such a compelling way in any other show I've watched.
I can't remember the last time I watched a show weekly.
Yeah.
Like purposely, like had to see it like as soon as it released.
Well, like we did that with WandaVision, but
I was just
like,
gonna say, besides the Marvel stuff, but that's kind of a different animal.
Yeah, I do that more out of
movies.
obligation than I do enjoyment. Like, this I'm doing because I'm truly curious about where these characters are going, and I just can't wait to see it.
And now we have to wait for however long before the next season comes out. But
Yeah.
So,
But I'm okay
great
with
show.
that because it's an opportunity to do another rewatch, and I have a feeling this is going to be one of those shows that I love to watch over and over again and catch those little nuances.
It's a shame it's so short. Like you and I had this conversation the other day. When you look at like a show like Bones that was out however long ago, there's like 27 episodes per season, and this had 11, I think.
Yeah,
or
10 or 11.
It's shocking how
Like, not a lot at the end.
How different television has become, yet a lot of it has stayed the same thematically. Like,
hey, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
yeah. So, all right, and after getting caught up with that, we started watching Midnight Mass, and that was your recommendation, hon. You started watching that, right?
Yeah. It's I hadn't watched it without you. I had this is the same guy who has done whatchamacallit? Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, or Bly Manor, whatever it was.
It's got Raul Coley in it, right?
Sure.
The guy who played what's his name on iZombie?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Plays the sheriff.
Yeah, but he's so American in this one, and it's like weird because I'm like, this does not work for you, sir. Half of your hotness came from your accent and like your charm and your adorable. Like, he's so grave in this show.
Evan, were you talking to Dan about this one last night? Was this the one that Dan just absolutely hates?
I don't know. No, I don't think
I'll
so.
put words in his mouth. I think Dan hates this show, and I don't know why. So you should contact him and harass him about it.
I will. Mike Flanagan, that's the guy I'm thinking of. Mike Flanagan has been the one who's been directing all of these, and it's interesting. It's an interesting premise. For anyone who doesn't want spoilers, don't listen to the next 15 seconds. Okay, good.
So wait,
Go.
hold on, Chris.
Ready,
This is a horror-based show. You're probably not going to watch it, correct?
Oh no! I mean, I'm all about this show existing, but I've got.
Okay.
Don't worry about spoilers on my account. I'm not even listening.
Okay.
So basically from the beginning of the show, they set this up to be vampires, but they do it in a way that's like a slow burn.
It's so slow of a burn that it starts as a religious monster movie or monster television show.
Yeah, like there's a monster doing stuff in the background essentially, and they like in the beginning there was like the cats that washed up on the beach. There's tons of feral cats on this little island. The whole show is based on this island community, and there's a smaller section of the island that they occasionally go to hang out, especially the kids where they want to go party and stuff like that. And there's tons of feral cats there. And then there's a storm. And after the storm, all the cats are on the beach, but all their necks are broken and all their blood is gone. So there's no blood on the beach. So immediately it's like, okay, vampires. Like in my mind, I was like, it's either a monster that's eating lots of blood, or it's just a fucking vampire, which is a monster that eats a lot of blood.
Was that before or after the priest shows up with the box?
That's after. So the priest
even
shows up.
Before
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
like there are hints to vampirism and Dracula-esque things throughout the entirety of this show, but it is all surrounding this church that's in the middle of this town. That the town, like when I say in the middle, I mean like everybody's a part of this church. This church is a part of the community, and it's a very, very small community. The priest left because he went on a I don't know.
He was old. He went on a pilgrimage. They wanted to send him on a pilgrimage before he died because he was becoming very senile, and they knew he didn't have much time left.
And then someone comes back in his stead because he is still sick, and it's his replacement for his temporary replacement for the time being.
Yeah.
And the first time we see him, he's dragging this large like steamer trunk into his house, and he lays down and he knocks on it, and then you hear a responsorial knock. So there's another tip off, like does he have the old man in the crate? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, it's a lot of that kind of thing. And now by, what are we on? Episode 4?
5, 4, I don't know.
Like,
yeah.
he thinks there's angels, but they're actually vampire.
It's a vampire.
It's a vampire story.
On his pilgrimage, he got turned into a vampire, but the vampire had wings. And like in his delirious old man stupor, he looked at it and like thought that it was actually an angel that saved him, and so he brought, like, he calls it an angel of the night, and he like brought it back with him,
this tiny little town,
and now he's fucking turning everybody. He runs mass every day, and then he's like putting drops of blood in the wine, and like it's doing things for certain people in town, but some of it's beneficial, some of it's not, and like he's turning into a fucking vampire. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's so fun.
They're showing alleged miracles. Like, so he was very old, and when he became a vampire, or when he got turned, he became a younger self. So nobody knows what he looked like as a kid or as a young man.
Except for another senile woman in town. Surprise, surprise.
Okay. And apparently...
Senile women know everything.
Yeah, it's
right?
True. So throughout the entirety of these 5 episodes, we find out that he has a news clipping hanging on his wall of his house of him as a young man standing next to the church. Like, he put it right out there on Front Street.
Yep.
And maybe 3 people have seen it throughout the entirety of this show.
Yeah, like nobody noticed right away, and now like everyone's starting to figure it out, and they're kind of like, okay, what the hell's going on here? But also like, it's too fucking late.
So, like, people are getting healthier. Okay, like the main character's father's back problems go away. His mom doesn't need glasses anymore. The senile old woman is no senile. What was it? There was a girl in a wheelchair, and now she can walk.
Yeah, I was like, are you gonna get to the big one?
Like, and that was the big miracle moment.
Yeah.
Like it's during a mass, and he says, come and get your host. And she wheels up, and he goes up a flight of stairs, and he like makes her walk up the steps in front of everybody, and everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? What? That's just mean. Why would you? And then the kid gets up. Mm-hmm. Because he's turning them all into fucking vampires.
But he doesn't know he's doing it. It's just crazy. Everything about it is nuck and fuds.
I have seen a lot of vampire television shows and movies because I like vampires. The first time I'd ever seen that, okay, so there's a woman who's pregnant or was pregnant, and she gets blood drawn, okay? And the doctor has the vial of blood that's be sent off to be tested. And it happens to, like time, she sets it in a tray, and time passes enough that the sunlight comes through the window in a certain path, and it hits the vial of blood, and the blood started to boil right in the vial. And I'm like, that is such a unique fucking way to show that something is now a vampire.
Or becoming that hurt, something is wrong with her blood. Because like she, like, I don't want to give everything away in the story.
We only know half of the story so far. 'Cause we're only at episode 5.
It's so fun. It's fun, and it's spooky ooky. And like the last series that Mike Flanagan put out, Bly Manor. I was so disappointed with that series. Like, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I think it was too similar but different to the first series, because it was about like what you thought was going to be a haunted house, so you're expecting this kind of ghost story, but then the twist was like meh, and now this is a completely new direction and change of pace, and I think that's what we needed, or that's what I needed as a fan. So I wish more of the original cast would come back, so it would be a little bit more like what they do with American Horror Story, but it is what it is. I mean, Kate Siegel's still in it, and she's my favorite, so as long as I get to look at her beautiful face, I'm happy.
We are literally halfway through the show, because we are watching episode 4. There's 7 episodes, but we only made it halfway through episode 4, so I can come in here and start editing.
So, yeah, we'll get further. But yeah, Kris, what have you been watching?
Well, it's been an enjoyable ride. Let's see, we already talked about Ted Lasso. We've been watching Only Murders in the Building as well. That was, took some turns there. We left off on the one where Steve Martin's girlfriend was attacked. I don't know if she's alive or dead yet. I don't know if there's another episode that we haven't watched yet. So if there is, and you know the answer to that, don't tell me.
That's where we're at. So.
Okay.
Spot.
All right.
Yeah.
Love that show. That show's really freaking good, man.
What did you think about the silent episode?
What's that?
What did you think about the silent episode? Because the last we spoke, you hadn't seen that. I thought you said you hadn't seen that yet.
Oh no, I saw that one. Yeah, it was good. It didn't strike me as like the holy crap amazing or anything.
I thought it was just interesting how each one of them handled being quiet, and they couldn't do it.
I thought it was really good. It just wasn't. I mean, I think about silent episodes. I think about the silent episode of BoJack Horseman. It was like, that was nuts. But no, it was good. The whole show's good. I wasn't even all that thrilled with it to begin with when we first started watching. I was like, yeah, this is fine. But then I just got really sucked into it. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So that's super fun. So we finished What If.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We did that too.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
It
was fine.
It was all right.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was just like, yeah, they brought back. Oh wow, this story is just falling apart. Okay, never mind.
It was very comic booky. Like,
Ugh.
it was more comic booky than MCU, and not necessarily in like the sort of way. Like, it was fun. I'm glad I watched it. It was a good time, but I'm never gonna watch that again.
Yeah.
If they make more episodes, sure, I'll watch them. Why not? There's a decent way or worse ways to kill a half hour. And it's nice hearing all the most of the original voice actors reprising their roles, and the show's fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Besides, I've officially started John on Dragon Ball Z. He's officially into the show, which is great. I'm watching the Ocean dub, which was how I watched the show originally. So I got into Dragon Ball Z when it was airing on I think Philly 57, which was a local station down here. On Sunday mornings, they would air I think 2 episodes, 1 episode or 2 episodes on Sunday mornings, and that was like my introduction to it. Besides seeing envelope art in magazines like Nintendo Power and whatnot, people be like Dragon Ball pictures. So I recognized the characters with the spiky hair, but I'd never seen the show. So I started watching it. I think I picked it up on like the 2nd or 3rd episode in, and then eventually started buying the VHS tapes so that I could see what came before it. And I was so hooked on this show, and it was very much like the kind of show that would have been on Sunday mornings. Like, this was very Americanized version of it. It was heavily edited in often hilarious ways. Because there's so much stuff in Dragon Ball that's just not appropriate for American television, especially during that time, aimed at kids. So, like, they never kill anybody. Everybody gets sent to another dimension.
Yep.
Which is hysterical. Vegeta blows up a fucking planet. He's like, "Oh, you sure sent that planet to another dimension." Or somebody blows up a helicopter and they're like, "Oh, good, I think I can see their parachutes." What?
Thank you for that. Completely unnecessary and total bullshit commentary.
Yeah, like no, he just killed those dudes. Like that's what that was. Or when Nappa and Vegeta show up on Earth and Nappa vaporizes an entire city, and then somebody says like, "Oh, it's a good thing." No, Vegeta says, "Ah, it's a shame it was Sunday. Those buildings would have been full of people any other day." My absolute favorite was from the one that we watched today, where Goku goes to hell because he falls off of Snake Way, and he has to like contend with these two ogres with shirts that say hell on them. And for some reason, the version that you have visually still says hell on it. But when I watched it on TV and when I had the old VHS tapes, they had edited the word hell to be HFIL, which stands for Home for Infinite Losers.
Oh boy.
What?
Genius. Absolute genius. I just love it. And, anytime, like, Gohan's naked on the ground, there's, like, a, conveniently placed small tree, like, in front of him. It's clearly not drawn by the original artist.
I remember seeing that. Yes.
Stuff is so funny. But, so, we had watched the first 2 episodes a long time ago, like, months and months ago. And he thought they were pretty neat at the time, but, like, it didn't really click with him so much. Like, he was like, okay, that's cool. This is interesting. But he started seeing me play this Dragon Ball game that I'm doing for review for Nintendo Force, and he was like, had a lot of questions about the characters, and I was like, this game is telling this story incredibly poorly. I really want to show you more of the cartoon. And I wanted to show him the Ocean dub because, one, that's the version that I saw, and two, because it's so sanitized for American television, Master Roshi's no longer an issue. He's just, an old man who trained Goku and Krillin and Yamcha and whatnot. So,
oh yeah, isn't he actually a massive perv?
Yeah,
like ridiculous. I had Evan get me Dragon Ball Z Kai, which was like basically an abridged version of Dragon Ball Z, but not a joke, like Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Yeah,
and like I watched the first couple of minutes of it, and like right away he's trying to grope Bulma. And I'm like, oh, man. And like, Bulma's got to be, at the beginning of this show, she's got to be like maybe 22 tops. And Master Roshi's somewhere around like, I think a couple 100 years old.
Yeah.
So, I like it regardless. Like, I mean, he dude's just straight up perv. Like, in the original Dragon Ball, they only agrees to train Goku and Krillin when they bring him porn and like a teenage girl's underwear. Like, it's not cool. It's just not cool. And, it never bothered me that much when I was a kid. I was just kind of wrote it off like, that's not okay. And then just moved on with the rest of the show, which I love. But I just don't want to have to explain any of that shit to John right now.
Yeah,
I don't want to explain the concept of a pervert to John, or why would a very old man want to, grope a young lady? Like, I don't want that. And it doesn't, I've mentioned this to Dan last night. Removing it removes nothing of consequence from the show. There is a pretty amusing joke about it in like Dragon Ball Super that when I was doing the whole 60-second summary, they recently put Master Roshi on their team, and part of his training was overcoming being a pervert.
Okay, that I love.
that's funny.
But I mean, like, that's kind of a long way to go for that joke. But anyway, so I figure we're gonna watch this show up to where it ends, which was halfway through, I think, the second season, you would call it, the second major story arc. Was where it stopped airing in America. And what's fascinating is that, so Evan obtained the Ocean dub, and everything that aired in America is, it's got to be rips from the VHS tapes that were released, because they're pretty decent quality, but they don't have, I don't know, they might be from TV, because they have different commercial break chunks in them than my old VHS tapes did.
Okay.
Like, my old VHS tapes just had the original, Japanese commercial break interlude in between them, and these ones have like, and now back to our show and stuff like that in them. So I don't know where these exactly came from. Like, maybe they aired in Canada or something, I don't know, but
Very possible.
Regardless, it's the same number of episodes of that nice quality that ends right where the show ended for us here in America. But that company continued to dub Dragon Ball in other territories, which I did not know. Because here in America, Funimation got the rights to it, and they picked up on the following episode, doing it much more, I guess, unedited, much lower budget. Because, like, as much as they edited the Dragon Ball Z for the Ocean dub, they put a lot of effort into it. Like, they really tried to cut the show to be more like an action-oriented American TV show, which was really cool. They definitely cut out a lot of filler episodes, like a lot of them. And it was fine. It really worked well for me being a kid watching this stuff for the first time. And then when Funimation took over, it was like, it was really jarring because the voices, the voice actors are the same voice actors who are still voicing the characters today for Funimation, but they really hadn't figured out what they were doing yet. Like, these guys were all novices at this point, and the production quality is like super low. It's just like straight up dubbed over the the Japanese stuff. Wow. So they've since gone back and redone all those, and they've redone the entire series with the Funimation voiceovers and stuff, but what was fascinating to me is that, like, so whatever you obtained for the Ocean dub after that is missing just massive chunks of the story. And they're all, like, clearly taped off TV. They've got, like, all the, symbols in the corner and stuff like that of, like, watch this show coming up next or something like that. And it is fascinating to me because, like, most of the voices are the same, but, like, I think Goku's voice changed, but then, like, everyone else's voices were exactly the same as the ones that I watched over and over and over again on my VHS tapes back in the old days. And they're like a couple, like, they skip 50, 60 episodes at a time, and it's like, I want to know where the rest of these were. I really want to see, like, how we got here, because it's these way later episodes all edited the same way as they did the original show, the original episodes, which is, it's super cool. But
I'd say that's the
clearly
problem.
This stuff isn't out there.
That's the problem with acquiring things nefariously and by a person who has no idea what the fuck he's looking for.
Yeah, because they're all listed as, like, I would imagine that this stuff, I don't think it's been released anywhere. So I'm pretty sure Ocean wasn't able to sell their stuff anymore after Funimation got the rights on it.
How many episodes are there? Like, so this is Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's just a version of the dubbing. So it's all still the same, technically the same imagery. Because I'm looking now, and there's a 30th anniversary collection. I don't know. I don't know what that means. There's 291 episodes. Mm-hmm. So
that's probably just the original Japanese one, right? Because I think that's.
I have no idea.
Dragon Ball Z. Let's see. Originally aired in Japan. In 1989. Okay. Was when it started.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah.
Jesus.
She was relative, like, it was more or less done by the time we even got it here in America.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
I'm only now realizing that.
And that's just Z. I mean, when did Dragon Ball start?
Oh, Jesus.
So the original Dragon Ball anime was from 86.
I feel so dated right now.
And there's, like, the long history of the localization of Dragon Ball is really interesting, because I think there was another English run even before that aired on some channels very briefly, a completely different English localization of the original Dragon Ball before Z came over with Ocean. It's all super interesting stuff. But yeah, I've never seen anyone talk about the rest of the Ocean dub actually being released anywhere. So I'm pretty sure it just aired where it aired, and then that was the end of it, which is so nuts because it's so different. But it's been really fun watching the show with him, and he's so into it now.
That's great.
Now he's, like, really, really into it. He's really into the characters, and, like, it's not just, like, the going crazy and the screaming and the shooting lasers out of their hands. Like, he's super into, like, Gohan being a kid running around the woods,
Aww.
hanging out with dinosaurs and stuff. Like, he was really into the episode we watched today where Goku fell off a snake way. Like, Dragon Ball's got such a neat mythology to it, and that was what made me fall in love with the show to begin with. And that mythology is what makes those big, long, screamy fights mean more. And he saw me play through some of that stuff, and it had zero impact because, like, it just the game did such a shit job telling those stories and really focusing on what mattered in those battles that made them so dramatic to watch. So I'm really excited to get to the point where they finally start fighting the Saiyans, and I want to see how he reacts when the characters start dying, and not just like, oh, well, that guy's dead, and that guy's dead, and that guy's dead. Well, I don't even know who they were, but like, because they it was one of the first shows I ever watched where they really brutally killed characters off. And I know the show said, they went to another dimension, but I was old enough to know the difference between that and that point. I was like, yeah, no, that's just this. I know this is a Japanese show. That means that dude's dead. What I didn't realize
Piccolo's
was
got
how
a
much of the
human-sized
actual-
hole in his body. Like,
that was great in the beginning where Piccolo shoots the hole through Raditz and Goku, where Goku initially dies in the beginning of the show. Like, they don't show the hole in his chest at all. And I paused the show after we were done. I was like, all right, so what I didn't realize when I first watched this is that the special beam cannon actually drilled all the way through both of them. In the original version of the show, you actually see it come out of Goku's back. Dude's just got a big old hole in him. And like, there was stuff like that I didn't realize how much they edited when I first watched this show as a kid. Because when I eventually rewatched it all, when I got those DVD sets in Japanese, and like, there was so much more blood in the fight against Raditz and the fight against Vegeta, and like when Nappa literally punches Tien's arm off, like, it was brutal. Like,
totally
it looks
forgot
really
about that.
weird in the American version of the show. Like, they do this weird like color cutaway thing, and then he immediately says, "You just wait until it grows back." Like,
that's
what
not
just
how
happened?
arms work.
I don't understand what just I never understood it. And then when I watched the Japanese version, I was like, oh shit, he punched him so hard his arm broke off. That is horrifying. Yikes.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to keep watching the show with him. It's really fun. It's fun being able to share this with somebody else in the house. I'm such a huge fan of this saga, and he's just the right age to be like really, really into this stuff. And this other kid that he talks to at school is a big Dragon Ball fan because he's got a Dragon Ball backpack.
Aww.
I'm not sure how I feel about that kid. He's kind of weird, but then John's kind of weird too. This is a kid that when John was, I think, in kindergarten, was kind of bullying him.
Okay.
And now but John, he goes out of his way to say goodbye to John and nobody else. And like, he says it really weird, and I don't know if I think like the kid's just a little off, and if that's the case, then sure, man, go nuts. But this is also the kid that was telling John like a month ago that he had an early copy of Metroid Dread, and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't. Like, believe me, if this game had leaked, I'd know about it. It hasn't leaked yet, so
That's
he
my
does
job.
not have an early. Not even big places like IGN have review copies of this yet, so he doesn't have it. He's lying. So I don't know how I feel about this kid, but either way, he's a Dragon Ball fan, and this other, he's a video game fan, so he and John have stuff to talk about and nerd out about at school, so that's pretty fun.
That's nice, though. At least he's got someone he's bonding with, even if he sounds like a little bit of a shit.
Yeah. So that's good. And I think that's been pretty much it. I was gifted an Xbox One recently, and I have that set up for to run Plex on in Disney Plus and stuff. So I'm kind of using that as my media server down here in the basement television. I don't think I've been really watching much of anything else. It's just been a lot of game playing. I mean, Metroid came out over the weekend, and we beat the entire game in the span of 4 days, and it was amazing.
I like the way he says "we."
I would be stuck in a few places if not for John. No shit.
Really?
There was a room or two that I'm like, there's one in particular towards the end of the game. I'm going back and forth in and out of this door, and John eventually says, "Why aren't you just going in the tunnel?" I'm like, "What tunnel?" He's like, "That tunnel over there." And he walks over to the screen and points to it. It's got fucking lights on it and everything, and I just didn't see it for like a couple of minutes. And I was ready to shut the game off and come back to it in a few hours. Like, I have no idea what to do right now. Like, there were like 3 or 4 instances during the game where that happened, where you just saw something on screen that I completely missed.
That's awesome, though. I love that. That's kid brain at work.
It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's there's the catch up. I have no idea what else Karen's been watching. She's definitely been watching some other stuff while she's been watching Baking Show a little bit. And she's still marathoning Doctor Who, I think. Every time I go upstairs, she's got that on. Mm-hmm. But as for other stuff that she's doing while I'm podcasting and or working, it beats the crap out of me. And I'm sure she will talk about it the next time she's on the show. But for right now, I think we need to wrap up the first segment so we can go talk about the news, and I can get my butt to bed.
Sounds like a plan.
So we are going to do some commercials, and then we're going to go back and talk about the news. You are listening to this week's episode from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, Pauly Shore is a national treasure, apparently. Allegedly. His beloved weasel character has woven itself into the very fabric of our society, according to Kris.
These are your words.
It's totally my words. I know who Pauly Shore is. I didn't look at this and go, who the fuck is Pauly Shore? So when an icon such as him teams up with a young Brendan Fraser, I do know him, and Lord of the Rings, Sean Astin, you have the recipe for success. That's why Sean, Paul, and Kris decided to take a deep dive into the psychological thriller Encino Man, dissecting all the nuances of the performances, pontificating on the genius premise, and of course, Weezing some juice. I don't get this reference. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm stupid. Does this all-time classic stand the test of time? Don't miss A Theater Near You, Episode 7, Encino Man.
Spoiler
Oh my
alert.
god,
Yes,
I want
it does.
so badly to know what you would make of this movie.
Wait, me or Evan?
You. honey.
Oh.
You.
I have a valid opinion about this movie. I've watched it multiple times.
Really?
Yeah.
How have we not watched this? What is it? Is it okay? What is the actual premise? Is this a comedy?
It is a
It is a
psychological thriller.
90s comedy movie. It is Brendan Fraser is a caveman. Sean Astin is for
dude.
some reason thinks he will be popular in high school if he digs a pool in his backyard. And him and his friend Pauly Shore are digging a pool in his backyard, and they
uncover
accidentally
Brendan.
unearth a caveman, Brendan
No,
Fraser.
shut up.
Oh yeah,
Wait
yeah,
for
he's
it.
frozen,
What?
and then he thaws out, and he wakes up, and then they teach him about life in '90s high school in Encino, California.
What?
Yeah. Shush. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
The shush guy. Oh, Evan, you should definitely listen to this episode
I
of
will.
Theater Near You. Paul deep dove into this movie, like he had some thoughts on this
I
movie.
will.
What is
Oh,
this?
man, good
All
times.
right. Let me get through this plethora of names that Kris has written down for me.
I'm sorry,
Next
I'm
up-
just looking at Brendan Fraser and Encino Man, and my life is over. Okay, go ahead, read, honey.
Dude
Next
was
up.
sexy AF. That is a good-looking caveman.
There's no denying that. Okay, moving on.
Next up, no, your ears do not deceive you. The crew at Sparkcast is talking about Victory Leo, God, Ginrai? I can't read it. It's too
Sure,
far
go
away.
nuts. I don't know what it is.
God Ginrai, Leo Convoy, Lion Optimus, G1 Optimus Prime, Optimus Primal, and Starsaber, all in one place. These titans of Transformers history are pitted against the deadly threat of Beast Wars Megatron. Holy shit. G1 Starscream, new villains, and a brand new Megatron. Things are about to change into other things in a big bad way. Prepare yourself for the hilariously named Threat of Double Megatron in Sparkcast episode 50, Transformers Robot Masters OVA 1 and 2.
Oh, you know you gotta catch it.
What?
Yeah, made perfect sense to me, and I even know a little bit about Transformers. Anyway, finally, in an all-new Mutant Musings Evolution, Patty and Jonathan discuss Target X and Sins of the Sun. Patty teaches us about killer boats as Jonathan figures out how metalheads style their hair. What is Irish coffee really? Did Jonathan actually spider dance? Find out in Mutant Musings Episode 19, Tentacle Time with Logan. No lie, this was probably one of my favorite pieces of cover art we've ever had on Geekade.
Okay.
Jonathan, he screen grabs when he's watching the episodes to send me images to make the episode art out of. Mm-hmm. And it was Logan just like robotic tentacles grabbing him. And like, you know, he has this very, I don't know if terrified is the right look on his face. Like, when you look at it from the perspective of, you know...
is the voice of getting in my head.
Listen, when you're surrounded by tentacles, there's no other face to have.
You call the episode Tentacle Time, and immediately you start thinking about, like, tentacle porn, right?
Yes.
Like, that's the joke that's implied. And then you got Logan from X-Men Evolution's face with Tentacle Time with Logan, and the subtitle was From Our Johnson to Your Johnson. I don't know what that means, but shit just had me cracking up, so... For all this great content and more from us and our partners, please be sure to keep your eyes on Geekade.com. We are back and better than ever. We have a bunch of news stories to talk about, so let's get started. Shira, live-action series in the works. This comes to us from Deadline.com. This is happening at Amazon, which really continues to confuse me as to who actually owns the rights of these various properties, because I was pretty sure Netflix had this on lock, but apparently I was wrong. It's coming to us from DreamWorks Animation. No, it's not.
It's
DreamWorks Animation produced the last She-Ra thing.
Yeah.
This is beats the shit out of me who's doing it.
So this is Amazon Studios is doing the live action, but the animated version was DreamWorks. So evidently this is supposed to be its own standalone thing. It's not attached to the cartoon at all. But like, what the fuck? I mean, I'm gonna watch it because I want to support the idea of like more She-Ra content, because it seemed to be very well liked, and that's great. But like, I just feel like they took it and they were like, yeah, this is doing well, let's do this too, let's just keep going.
Everyone can do something related to Masters of the Universe, because we've got Netflix currently has two different cartoons.
Yep.
Right, there's that one movie, or is that a different series? It's all CG and wonky looking, and then you've got the Kevin Smith one, which is not related to She-Ra.
Nope.
Which is not related to this She-Ra.
Nope.
What the hell?
So do we remember the last time Masters of the Universe went live action?
That was the old movie that everyone hated, right?
That's right. Dolph Lundgren starred as Adam.
Wow.
I've still never seen that movie.
Oh, they played the time university travel thing was a musical instrument, and there was a troll, and then there was a not Jennifer Aniston. Who's the other friend? Monica.
Courtney
Cox.
She was in it. Like, really fucking weird. Not good. Really fucking weird.
I'm discovering things
Yeah, I don't
right
think
now.
I've heard anyone really say anything positive about that movie over the years, so I haven't actively sought it out.
Probably the best choice.
I think I think you're winning for that one.
I mean, maybe it'll come up on a theater near you. Maybe that's when it'll happen. Meanwhile, the Today.com reports Mayim Bialik and Ken Jennings to split Jeopardy hosting duties through 2021, and I'm at the point where I just could not possibly care less.
For the next
I will
3
tell you,
seconds,
though, Ken Jennings, I think that's a wonderful choice. For anyone who doesn't know,
that's a great choice.
He won a lot on Jeopardy, like the most, right? And did you watch the thing? Like, I don't know if it was actually in here, because I had been watching and reading, but that he was given Alex Trebek's, like, what are those things? The little
clicker?
The little things that go on the cufflinks. And a note from Alex's wife, because they actually did form a relationship over the years, and he saw Alex like 2 days before he died. So like they had a real bond and a real friendship, and I think that it's beautiful that he would carry on this legacy, and it seems like he is honestly a wonderful choice for this role. So maybe the camera won't love him as a host, but I think it did when he was on Jeopardy, and I think that this is going to be wonderful.
Definitely a better choice than creepy producer guy.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And
that's the thing. Like, I feel like he was at this point, all right, that's a great choice. But then Mayim Bialik's there too, and I don't know. I don't like her.
Well, that's a shared responsibility. I'm not 100% on why that was even necessary, but whatever.
Because Ken Jennings is not a name of enough of a name yet.
Yeah, well.
Let him get a half a season with, well, not even half a season. It's 3 months at best with her. And then by however they do it, he'll be doing it by himself and she'll be a guest host.
Yeah, I think that's great.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, whatever. Use the name equity, build. It's great. Move on. Jeopardy is saved. The end.
Yeah. Anyway, this is some fascinating news to me. Now, Karen would obviously be the expert to talk about this, but I certainly have plenty of thoughts on it. So, DoctorWho.tv announces, and this was a genuine shock to me, Russell T. Davies to return as Doctor Who showrunner. So, Russell T. Davies is the one
Bad Wolf.
that was, he was running the show when it first rebooted on BBC America or BBC.
Okay.
So
he basically made me like Doctor Who.
This was the Christopher Eccleston.
This is before Matt Smith.
Okay.
This is Eccleston,
Matt
Tennant, and this is before Stephen Moffat took over.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that stuff's perfect, but it's still really it's kind of campy. It had a lot more in touch with classic Who. It was still finding its footing. It's still figuring out what the show was eventually going to be in a modern setting, and that stuff's brilliant. I mean, all the Bad Wolf stuff, but from what I've come to understand, during that initial run, that was him and his production company working very closely with BBC to produce this stuff. This is him and his production company, Bad Wolf, is running the shit.
Oh.
So I don't know how I feel about this. I know that the show needs something to bring it back. This last season really kind of lost me. I'll always be a Doctor Who fan. Karen introduced me to the show, and I love it. I've rewatched it, plenty of times. I think Doctor Who's phenomenal, and I'll always watch new episodes. But this last season of Jodie Whittaker with Chris Chibnall as the showrunner wasn't great. Did some shit to the lore that I did not care for at all. Kind of made the Doctor into a whole chosen one thing, and it just seemed like a really, really reaching to try to find gravity where it didn't need it. And I didn't care for it at all. And it's a bummer that Jodie Whittaker's not sticking around after Chris Chibnall leaves, because much like Peter Capaldi before her, I think that she could do phenomenal things with the character if she just had better scripts to work with.
Agreed.
And in their first season together, they had some really, really high notes. And I was really into some of the stuff they did. That first episode with the Dalek that they did, I thought was really, really cool. But it just continued to go downhill from there and do all sorts of stuff that they did that other mysterious doctor, the black woman doctor that came before all the other original doctors, because apparently the Doctor had a whole other set of regenerations before William Hartnell back when the show originally began in the 50s. And I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. No.
Yeah.
You move forward. Do not fuck with the past like that. You don't need to do that. You just don't. And at a certain point, it started to smell like diversity for diversity's sake.
Yes.
And that shit bugs me. Don't do diversity for diversity's sake. Just do diversity. It's fine. You don't have to you don't have to really have to hammer the head over it. You just do it naturally, and then it's good. Don't force it. Everything felt so yeah, the show left a bad taste in my mouth.
That's
and
what
I
I call
never want
box
that
checking.
to come from Doctor Who.
You know, like there was a certain run of episodes there where they were making sure that their boxes were checked, making sure that they're, you know, proper with what's going on in the world, and it's unnecessary. You don't have to do that as long as you're telling good quality stories and you have the right cast and the right cast members in there. Like you will get your point across, and I don't know, that just seemed very forced.
It did, and like I didn't want it to feel forced. Like you do all that stuff, but like it seemed like they were making such a point of like the one dude, I forget all the characters' names, but the one guy that had like the learning disability, they like didn't do anything with it. They were like, yeah, he's got a learning disability. I'm like, all right, cool, that's pretty neat. And then like they
the box
made
being
sure
checked.
you knew that he had a learning disability, and then like he didn't act like it for the rest of the season until like the very end when he was trying to learn how to ride a bike. It's like, oh right, he had a learning disability, and like they just kind of glossed over it for most of the show, and like that's what kind of made it feel shoehorned instead of like organic. And that's a problem when doing stuff like when doing stuff like that, when you're doing representation. Like you got to do it justice, you have to do it properly, otherwise it feels like pandering. And that just it didn't feel good to me. So Russell T Davies returning, so like we're going all the way back to the beginning. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic, I'm hopeful. I think it's in. I didn't imagine that he would want to return ever, but here we are, and I clearly he's got some sort of ideas. So let's see what he's got.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
It's a weird idea. I really probably would have preferred something, someone who had never done it before, another fresh take on it. But you know what? Sure. I was so ready for Moffat's time to be over, and then it moved on to Chibnall, and it was probably worse. And so I don't know. I want Doctor Who to be good again. I really do.
I mean, they lost me on Matt Smith, honestly. Like, I have had no interest in trying to pick the show back up.
After Matt Smith or at the beginning of
during. Like, it was like kind of like I got through all of Matt Smith, and then I just was like, okay,
That was Chibnall, right?
I'm done.
No, that was Moffat. Matt Smith.
That was Moffat.
Did this.
That's what I meant. It was Moffating all
He
over.
eventually had this problem where he had to keep one-upping himself,
Yeah.
and the stakes kept getting. It's like, oh, we're not just saving the universe; we're saving all the universes. Now we're saving all of reality and the concept of time itself. Like it just kept building bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until there was literally nowhere else to go.
Right.
Yeah.
And it felt too convoluted.
It did, and it lost me, and I just didn't care anymore, and like I didn't feel invested, and
I didn't care about Clara, and I loved Peter Capaldi's performance as the Doctor, but
yeah,
holy shit, did he just get some really bad stories to work with. But man, when he got good stuff, he shined so bright. Peter Capaldi got robbed.
Like that's the thing that I feel sad about with this show is that I still consider myself a Doctor Who fan, but like I have just not felt connected to the show in some time now. So I'm a fan of everything else leading up to that, and the writing and the stories that I had experienced before that, and that's the stuff that I encourage people to watch. And hearing more and more about how it's gone downhill, like it's not an encouraging feeling when you're like, should I? Like, oh, guess not. Like, I want Russell T Davies to come back and like just revitalize this a little bit. Because otherwise, like, I'm done with Doctor Who. If I do a rewatch, like, I don't know that I may stop after Tennant. Like, I don't know.
Which is a perfectly fine stopping point, because the show does kind of do a weird soft reboot at that point,
Yeah.
Like it's a really different flavor as soon as Matt Smith takes over. I love the early Matt Smith seasons. I think they're great, and I enjoyed Matt Smith's performance so much that even when the show was pissing me off, I was still having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I still think Matt Smith is a great doctor. It's hard to let go when you really love somebody, right? Like Tennant was so amazing, and I also loved him and Donna. Like, So that was tough. But overall, like, yeah, Matt Smith, I thought he was wonderful. I thought he made a great Doctor. I just fell off of it. Like, it didn't keep my attention anymore, and I just didn't love the show the way I had.
Yeah, and at a certain point, if you don't love it anymore, you got to stop watching it. And
yeah,
I mean, it's like Karen's favorite fiction ever, pretty much. So it's always going to be on. So I'll always watch it with her. But
yeah,
I was really, really feeling disconnected from it in the last season when they pulled all that stuff with her being the original Time Lord or something like that. It just got really, really ridiculous and messing with like the basics of what Doctor Who is, and like trying to answer the questions that I don't think should ever actually be answered. Like, who really is the Doctor?
Right.
Like, that's not the point. Like, it's neat that that's a mystery, but like, I don't really want to know the answer to that. Remember how much more interesting Wolverine was before we knew who he was?
Yes.
Right.
I like getting snippets of answers. I like the fact that over time we've been given more and more of the Doctor's history. I think another point of frustration for me with that show has also been the fact that, like, I feel as though you'll get information, and at one point, like, I thought it would be really fun as like a fan exercise to take the snippets of info they've given us and try to actually put together some sort of timeline for the Doctor's life. But then they keep fucking changing things. Like, they just negate stuff.
That was always their catch-all, that they can do that, and they always left themselves an out because it is a time travel show.
But they would build entire sections of plot around these elements of like the Doctor's history, and then it was like, oh, we don't like that anymore. So that didn't happen, or it doesn't matter.
Someone else has to put their stamp on it. So
yeah, I really hope that Davies finds a way to just kind of undo some of that shit.
Like, there's the wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff, and then there's like fucking Bad Wolf. Like, that seriously to me was some phenomenal writing.
Oh, that stuff was great. It's pretty funny, like, and I hate to try to drag this back into my own lunacy, but this was we had a really similar situation with this Metroid game that just came out. Like, they like really hardcore fucked the mythology with this Wii game called Other M, where they did all manner of stuff to Samus's character, and it was bad. It was bad. They really dove into like who she was and made her like really whiny and crying all the time and like pontificating over every singular thing that happened. There was a time where you watched somebody go through a door, and then she had a flashback to that person going through the door and thought about that person going through the door. I'm like, what are you doing? Why is this happening right now? And they made this character that had always been, pretty stoic and athletic and referred to as a warrior stupid weak. So Metroid Dread just came out that actually delves into her past and like why she is who she is, and they basically just said nah to all the stuff in Metroid Other M. Like,
good.
It's still technically there and like kind of canon, but like they did some weird changes like to different power-ups that she had, being like, oh no, it's not a different suit, it's a function of her suit. Like, no, that's not really how that shit works. So yeah, they just kind of wipe that shit aside, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for with the next flavor of Doctor Who, to be like, remember all this weird shit they just did that kind of intrinsically changed who the Doctor as a character kind of is?
Just kidding.
Nah.
JK.
Just forget about that. Just move on.
Don't mind
all right,
if I
speaking
do.
of moving on, let's talk about this article from Gizmodo. Netflix's Sandman reveals new footage, and Death would like a word.
This looks so good. Sorry.
Looks great.
Now, I don't know anything about this. I've never read the comics. I've seen lots of pictures of the comics, and I'm looking at the thumbnail for this trailer, and that dude looks just like the drawing of Sandman. That is pretty impressive.
Yes. That's real. I mean, there's some overacting in this snippet, but it looks great. Like, so far so good. And I don't want to get too excited because I love that story, but
Did you actually read the Sandman comics, babe? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Years
for
ago.
me, I was never into the art style. This was one of those, like, I couldn't get into it because the art was too weird. But the story is supposed to be so phenomenal, and I'm really excited that this is being presented in this format now, because I think that they're going to do a good enough job of it that I'm not going to care about whether or not it was like the comic, because I don't give a shit. I didn't want to read the comic, and this is me finally getting to experience some of these stories that people have told me for years I would love.
Yeah, it's the same exact situation for me. I've never read the comics, mostly because I wasn't attracted to the artwork. But I gotta say that they found a dude that looks so much like that drawing of Sandman that I've seen on the covers is freaking weird. But
Kind of creepy. It's awesome.
That is impressive.
I love when they can do stuff like that in television, where they actually find a good likeness for a character, and that excited me very much.
Sticking with Netflix-related news, People.com, Bridgerton's Nicola Coughlan warns fans to prepare thyself for season 2. See the first look. I still don't know what this show is about, because whenever you guys talked about it, I kind of zoned out, because, like,
Do you get that humming in your brain too?
it just, like, all of a sudden,
Thanks,
like,
guys.
are there bees in here? Let's see what's going on Facebook. So yeah, did you prepare thyself?
I
Are
have.
thine prepared? Are thou prepared?
My body is ready.
That was be prepared.
Yes, thine body is readieth.
All right.
Yeah, no, this so basically this time the story follows a different member of the Bridgerton family, and I'm very excited to see that it's going to follow a member that Karen and I had talked about, him just getting kind of like sad and pathetic at the end of the first season, and I'm like, oh yes, this is his opportunity. This is his moment to have character growth. He will shine. And they do a good job with that on this show, so I think that it will be really interesting, and there's questions that were left unanswered at the end of last season that will hopefully be addressed this season. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and that's it. I'll move on from there because, you know, nobody else cares, and I'm so excited for the next thing.
All right, Witcher Season 2 and prequel Blood Origin share peaks at Monsters and Men. Yeah, man, I liked The Witcher. I'll watch more of it.
Can I share a secret with you guys?
Please do.
Evan, I didn't tell you this the other night, and I totally forgot, but I had a dream about The Witcher.
Awesome.
It was really weird. So
Otherwise known as sexy.
It was a little sexy, I'm not going to lie, but the weird thing was
Henry
you were the
Cavill there?
Witcher.
Oh,
By
stop
nature
it.
sexy.
Bullshit.
No, I'm not even joking. So,
You are
I-
smoking something, woman.
no, well,
That's
Anyway.
Caviezel. That's Caviezel.
listen,
Anyway.
yeah, no.
Caviezel, no, he's not. That's not the guy who played Jesus in the
Caviezel.
Passion of the Christ. It's Henry Cavill, not Jesus Caviezel.
So, side note: the other day, I acquired a movie, and the artwork was on my Plex, and she goes, "Who is that?" And I went, "Oh, that's Henry Caviezel or Caviezel. I think that's how it's pronounced." It's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. He played
Jim
Jesus."
Caviezel, Henry
Or Jim
Cavill.
Caviezel. Like, he played
Yeah,
Jesus.
no, your
in
exact
what?
words were, you know who that is. He played Jesus. I was like, and?
Everybody knew that.
Like, what?
Apparently, you didn't know who played Jesus. Anyway,
And
sorry.
Passion of the Christ. Remember when that came out?
I remember that coming out. That's all I remember.
Yeah, it
'Cause
was
everyone
like Mel Gibson's
flipped out.
crazy ass Jesus movie, and
Yeah.
you know, Jim
It turns out he
Caviezel
hates
played
Jews.
Jesus, and it was awesome because I was working at this is before I met Evan, but I was working at the Game Crazy in Brooklyn, which was attached to the Hollywood Video in Brooklyn, and my roommates at the time wanted to do mushrooms at night, and they were like, "Kris, I need you to bring home Passion of the Christ and You Got Served, and we're gonna do mushrooms, and we're gonna watch them back to back."
That sounds like quite the trip.
Okay.
Oh, it was hilarious because you know, I don't go anywhere near that stuff, so I'm just they wanted me to hang out with them in case they like
Something
got
went
so
horribly
high
wrong.
that they would want to go up on the roof, and then I would be there to stop them. And like I just remember chilling there, like half watching the movie because like it was awful. And it was after You Got Served, which I didn't watch any of. And then there just came a point where they started whipping him, and my roommate's like, "Oh, Jesus got served."
Oh my God.
And there it is. Jesus God.
Man. Okay. Well, anyway, on
This
much
looks great.
better notes, yeah, I watched every part of this that I could. I'm super excited for The Witcher. I have a friend here in the town where we currently live who is like a huge Witcher fan. He knows all the lore and has read books, played the games, like everything you can do to be a fan of The Witcher. He has done it, and he is very excited about this, which has further increased my excitement. I like getting a super fan seal of approval. So
That boar-like creature looks fantastic.
oh
whatever
my God.
that is.
We gotta watch.
Yeah,
I'll watch
creepy.
the anime and then I'll tell you all about it.
Oh, I'm into it. I really enjoyed the first season. I hope they tell it like in a straight line this time, though. That it being all out of order is
That's
kind of
what made
wacky
me
and
stop
seemed ultimately
watching it.
pointless to me.
Yeah, the telling things out of order thing, really not a good move. I feel like there should be enough backlash from fans on the internet to hopefully have stifled that as a concept.
Yeah, because it was like it didn't need a gimmick. It was like, oh, this shit's awesome. Stop it.
Yeah,
just tell it in a straight line. I don't
please stop being
need this weirdo
so
gimmick.
abstract. Yeah. Agreed.
All right, this was some interesting news here. This comes to us from TVWeb.com. Night Court revival officially gets series order at NBC.
So it is official. There are no new ideas left, people. Give it up. We're done.
Right?
We've officially run out.
I wish I could remember who said it, but somebody on Twitter was like, "Yeah, no wonder networks are like all about reboots right now. I mean, the most popular shows right now are like Ted Lasso and Bridgerton and oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, though. Like, come on, get your fucking brains back in order, people, and stop rebooting things.
And if so, the issue that I see, I can't remember the lead character's real name. He was also in The Shining, but
I was gonna say
that
Jack
guy
Nicholson,
the
but-
guy is being replaced.
Judge Harry Stone.
Judge Harry Stone. I apologize. I was trying to remember his real name.
I can't remember his name either. It just took me until then to remember, like, Judge Stone, Judge Harry Stone. That was it. Yeah, I used to love Night Court, man.
He is being replaced by the whiny girl from Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Now, I don't know who you're talking about because I don't watch Big Bang Theory at all. It nauseates me. But as soon as I saw The Big Bang Theory were the first words in this article, I was like,
Yes, that girl sitting at the judge's stand is from The Big Bang Theory, and she has her character on that show has, I don't know what she really sounds like, has a very nasally, whiny voice.
apparently she's playing Harry Stone's daughter?
I don't know.
Yep.
Sure.
She's followed in her father's footsteps, and now she is running the Night Court. That is all I know. I read the article.
And John Larroquette's in it.
is still alive.
Didn't the guy who played Bull, didn't he die?
Yes, I'm pretty sure he did.
He was my favorite because, I watched this when I was a kid, so 90% of the humor went right over my head. I just thought Bull was hilarious. So yeah, I don't know what to think of this. I'll take a look at it. It's a weird thing to reboot, but I hope it still has the same theme song.
Yeah, you guys are fucking old. Let's
Yeah,
move on.
All right. Yeah, we get it.
Yes, let's move on.
From
Night
old
Court's
to
getting a
new.
reboot. I don't know, man. What? Evan, you posted this one, Arcane official trailer for Netflix. Why do we care?
So
Oh, my-
it is
From the creators of League of Legends?
Yes, from League of Legends. This is a video game based.
Okay.
It's from
Dude.
Riot Games. Okay, no. Wait, can I sell this? I got this. Elevator pitch. You ever see all those movies that they make for video games when they're launching like a new edition of World of Warcraft, or like maybe if you've ever played League of Legends and you've seen something where they make a new video about new characters that they're launching and that will soon be playable, and they give you like just a smidgen of backstory, and you're like, oh, what I wouldn't give for more. That's what this is. That's what this is.
This is the more.
This is
All
the
right.
more. It is everything and more.
So I have no
Got
idea.
kind of a neat art direction.
That's what got me. I love this art style. I think it is beautifully
So
stunning.
excited.
This is the polar opposite of What If. If What If looked like this, I would have been all for that shit.
Fair.
And it is still computer generated. It's that, but it's gorgeous, which I have no basic. Like I showed this to Angie, and she apparently played League of Legends or
way back in the day.
And I have nothing.
So did Dean.
I played it on a Mac, which was not a great choice. My MacBook was not purchased for the intent of gaming, but it was purchased to have a slightly better video card setup because I was using like Photoshop and Adobe. That being said, it still could not handle the game, and like I would get like randomly like discolored pixels. Like I would just have random areas of the screen where it would go like multicolored and stop working, and I had horrible lag. And the game, for anyone who doesn't know already, is basically like it's a PvP setup, and you're there's like 3 lanes that you can traverse from one end of the map to the other, and you're fighting the other team, and there's an objective, I think, for like taking territory and taking down their defense towers, and then like getting a number of kills and stuff like that. And at the time, I think they had, I don't know, like 30 characters, and now they probably have like, I think they have over 100 now. Like it's insane. But they've done like stuff where they would do like videos where when they'd be launching a new character, they'd give you a little bit of backstory about them, because each character has a unique design and concept and powers, and this is the backstory of 2 of those characters. So one of them is Jinx, and the other one, I recognize her, but I can't remember if it's Vi or V, but it's VI is the way her name is spelled. And this is basically a story that's been written about the 2 of them and their connection to one another. So I don't know if this is actually canon for the way the characters were originally introduced, but I remember Jinx being extremely popular when she was released. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing these stories again. And I thought I recognized a couple other characters in like quick flashes on the screen, but yeah, this makes me just want to go back and look at all things Riot again, and just like I don't know, watch people play League, or like look up every YouTube video ever about League, because I really enjoyed this game. I just never had a system where I could play it.
Well, now you do.
Yeah, that's true. Now I just don't have time.
But for someone who has nothing, it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I have no connection to this show or video game at all.
Yeah, I got nothing here either, and so that's really cool art direction.
Yeah, I like that it's appealing to people who don't know anything, and it is. I hope that other people who are fans of the game are also finding this as appealing as I do. So, Riot makes beautiful work, and I'm so happy to see this. And oh God, it's gonna be amazing.
Speaking of video game.
Speaking of video games, yes, IGN reports The Last of Us HBO series first image revealed of Pedro Pascal's Joel and Bella Ramsey's Ellie, and it's a still shot of the backs of their heads.
Yeah, I was like, that's a reveal, I guess.
Looks just like them.
Yep, nailed it, guys. I have negative interest in The Last of Us, so I won't be watching the show because the reason I don't want to play the game is it seems way more dire than I feel like being around. So
zombie video game, if I'm not mistaken, kind of thing. And
yeah, but like really depressing.
Yes.
Really just painfully violent. And I don't know, every time I see pieces of it, it's just like, this is art! Look at it! And I'm like, all right, I get it. You're really, really cool and really artsy.
Hip
I don't wanna. Don't wanna.
Making me.
I like a little bit of happiness, but I don't want to murder all these things. Just leave me alone.
I have interest in this series, and I do at some point want to play this game. So I'll let you know how it is.
I look forward to your impending review. Meanwhile, the only story that matters, Variety.com, Law and Order to return for season 21 on NBC.
Why?
Why? What do you mean, why?
Why is this still going? Like, listen, I was a fan of Law and
It's
Order in
not
my
still
earlier
going.
days.
That's the thing. It hasn't been going for ages.
But, like, they're bringing it back.
How long? Honey, you're not going to argue this. Stop pretending to argue this with Kris. You know this is like Chris's Christmas.
I know. I just wanted to
But
kill
here's the
Santa.
thing.
How long has
You
it
bring
been?
back. I don't know. I stopped paying attention. It's been too long.
Okay.
But here's the thing about this show in particular being rebooted is that it doesn't fucking matter if there's any characters that were in the original version, because the show was never about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every episode is its own self-contained thing. There's no continuity to pay attention to. It's just, here are the cops, here are the lawyers, and the case is the story.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was so bummed when this ended and SVU continued, because SVU is like the polar opposite of that.
Right.
SVU is all about the drama of these characters' lives and everything. And like they tried doing that with Law and Order at a certain point, and it went really poorly, so they just stopped. Like, nope, fuck this. Back to individual things. Just do the show exactly what it is. Doesn't matter who the characters are, because it all wraps up nice and neatly in the end with a episode by episode thing. So that's why you can't reboot Law and Order. You just can't, because what would be the point? So just fine, just flick the switch back on and keep making episodes. And I'm so totally into it. If there's going to be any characters coming, the only character that I would love to see come back is Jack McCoy. And Sam Waterston said that he would be into it. Nothing's been officially announced though. But outside of that, like, I mean, sure, you want to bring ADA Cutter back? Go nuts. What's her name? Alana DeGarza. She's already got other jobs. She ain't coming back, and that's fine. She was wonderful on the show, but, you know, she'd be missed. I'm pretty sure our Lord and Savior Jeremy Sisto won't come back. And was it Anthony Anderson was his partner? I'm pretty sure he's got other shit to do now, too. Whatever. Give me new detectives. Give me Asapatha Murkison. She was her character had cancer at the end of the show, and like she had just got the news that she was going to be fine at the end on the last episode, and like I would imagine she probably retired at that point, so that's fine. She was wonderful, but she had been on the show for like 150 years at that point, so it doesn't matter. It's new Law and Order, and like as evident by the fact that I've just been streaming into the background during pretty much anything, it really does not matter. Like, it's just fun to listen to, and I'm all for it. I'm so excited. I just hope they don't try to do something different with it. Just if you're bringing back Mothership Law and Order, just do Law and Order. Just do that, because they've done so many spin-offs of the show over the years, and like a couple of them stuck around, but for the most part, it's like nothing ever topped the original show. For me, anyway.
Fair.
Here.
Well,
So, yeah,
congratulations,
bring this back.
Happy
nerd.
for you. We're all very happy for you, Kris.
Thank you. I'm very happy for me
It's
too.
been almost 12 years since the last season.
There you go.
That was part of my like let it go thing. That's fine. All
Well,
right.
like that's the thing, you know. If it were any other show, like we're just talking about Night Court, like that involves, you know, well, how are we going to tie this to the old series?
Right.
You don't need to do that for this. It's
Nope.
just it is crime drama boiled down to its essence. So it's a catch-all. It doesn't have to be anything that supports any sort of continuity. You can jump in any episode of any season and not be lost for the most part. There were a couple of like two-parters and stuff that, you know, the cases were just too long for one episode. But
it was just too much.
it's just too much awesomeness going on. Usually when they're like taking on like a crime fallacy, like the Masucci crime family or something like that. The fictional
Oh yeah, totally. Masucci crap family. Yeah.
good times. I'm so excited.
man.
I just to have new episodes, because like man, shit went south when they did Law and Order L.A. Because like that was supposed to be kind of like the weird sort of continuation of this, and like Alana DeGarza moved over to her character. I can't remember her character's name, but she moved all the way over to L.A. And Alfred Molina was like the lawyer. And then halfway through the season, he quit being a lawyer so that he could be a detective. It's like, all right,
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's
what
not how that
exactly
works.
is happening here? This is stupid. And it just had such a different flavor because it wasn't in New York. And that's kind of like the other piece of Law and Order that's awesome, is that's this constant snapshot of New York. Because it was one of the only cop shows set in New York that was actually filmed in New York. Like NYPD Blue wasn't shot in New York.
No.
Law and Order, though, Shot in New York. Huzzah. I'm very happy for it.
Keep it authentic.
Hell yeah. All right, speaking of hell yeah, Variety reports WandaVision spinoff starring Catherine Hahn in the works at Disney Plus. Yay!
I had not opened up this article because I mean it's right there in the title. I don't need any more information. But then I opened the article and there's an interview between her and Ted, and I'm like, fuck, I should have watched that.
I did not watch it.
30 minutes long.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't realize that either, and I will probably watch that. But yeah, no, Agatha Harkness was an interesting character, and I like that we're going to get a follow-up. So, huzzah!
And they said it's going to be something of like a dark comedy, so I'm pretty in for that kind of stuff. I'll be honest, I wasn't like super thrilled when I saw this. I was like, great, Disney, just keep milking it. But then I was like, you know what? Whatever.
They're doing a good job, so excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, I think their weakest thing has been What If so far, and that was always going to be kind of a weird thing, you know?
Yeah.
That was always going to be like fluff, and I'm honestly glad it didn't turn out to be like really tied into the overall overarching MCU. Like, I feel like it's such a weird concept with we're already delving into weird multiverse stuff. It would have been maybe a bit much. Because, like, my dad watches the Marvel stuff, but he doesn't really dig cartoons all that much, so he didn't watch What If. And, you know, some people don't like cartoons as much as live action stuff. So you were always going to wind up people missing a lot of this What If stuff because it was animated. So, anyways,
Sure.
EW.com. Praise Satan. Kiernan Shipka's Sabrina will officially cross over to Riverdale. Is Riverdale still a show?
Apparently.
The hell?
Yep.
Okay.
So they're doing the Archie connection, getting Sabrina into Riverdale, and they're gonna put it on TV. Did Sabrina ended a while ago, right?
I don't know. Riverdale can go to hell. I'm so over this. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and I remember a lot of people being pretty unhappy with the way Sabrina ended. So
I didn't even finish. I was like, you know what, Sabrina, fucking do your thing.
Isn't
Go roll hell or
Sabrina's
not. I don't care about you.
Sabrina was Netflix, right?
Yup.
And Riverdale is not Netflix.
nope.
Is it CW or
It is now, honey. It is now. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know, and I don't care enough to know. I'm sorry, guys. I know our job is to read news articles, but you know
they
what?
got
I
the
didn't
information.
want
You
to
know
read
what?
this
We
one.
read it. We don't have to care about it. I do care about this next one, though. CBR.com, Sci-Fi's Resident Alien drops Season 2 trailer and BTS featurette. I have not watched the trailer yet, but I am
It's so fun.
into the show.
So unfortunately, the trailer, it's like a teaser, is like 20 seconds long.
But it's great.
But it's great. The behind the scenes for season 2, that's like 5 minutes long, and it's fantastic. Oh, can't wait for this. I'm so happy for this.
Yeah, this is going to be good times. I want you to watch and then tell me everything. Like, tell me all your thoughts.
Yeah, I loved this show, and I am into more of it. So,
Yeah.
Pile it on.
For sure.
In the complete opposite direction. Variety.com. That 70s show spinoff, that 90s show ordered at Netflix, Kurtwood Smith and Deborah Jo Rupp to return. I had a roommate when I lived in Brooklyn who was obsessed with that 70s show. And I'll admit that I didn't hate it, but I certainly am not going out of my way to watch it again or anything like that. But I didn't, actively avoid it when it was on in the background, which was pretty much all the time when he lived there.
I will admit I have done that 70s show rewatch. I enjoyed the show.
Since he's dated me, by the way. This was like recent.
Recently. It's one of those shows that, you could throw in the background and it'd be fine.
Yeah, it's pretty decent sitcom background fodder for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, they did try this once already.
They did that 80s show, but
Yes,
it didn't have
they
any of the
did.
original characters, right?
No, I don't think so. No, well, I did not watch it. So
I don't think anybody did.
yeah, and that was the thing. The theory of this being their kid visiting grandma and grandpa, I think that's adorable. So I'll check it out. I like those two actors as well.
Yeah, because it's going to be it's Red and
Kitty.
Kitty. Thank you. So those are the two characters that they're actually going to bring back. And I mean, I did very much enjoy those two characters as well. So I would say if you had to bring two characters back to try and sell this show to an audience, those would be the strongest characters I could think of.
And I could foresee there being cameos because the storyline is that it's Eric and Donna's kid coming to visit. So, and was it Voltarama? He's not doing much. Fez. So
yeah,
didn't he like get in a lot of trouble for being like a really shitty person or something?
Ooh, I have no idea, but I will do a Google search on that.
Tea.
Yeah, look that up. I feel like the guy who played Fez got in some trouble at some point.
Do tell me more. Google Foo, honey. Use your Google Foo. Search faster.
Well, while he's searching,
yeah, go ahead.
We only have a little bit left, and I'm just about running out of steam here. So this just kind of dropped out of nowhere. Speaking of Doctor Who, the Flux is coming.
What does that fucking mean?
Karen,
we don't know.
Karen, where are you when we need you? Stop resting.
No, she doesn't know either. Nobody knows. Like, they just dropped this trailer, and it's like, well, it doesn't seem like it's part of the next season. It just seems like some sort of Halloween special, maybe.
Okay.
And it's just Jodie Whittaker looking all, stressed out. There are a bunch of monsters on the way, like kind of a greatest hits of all the most dangerous monsters in Doctor Who. Like, okay, we've played that card a bunch of times already, so that's kind of lost all meaning, but whatever. Again, I can't say I'm super stoked for it because Doctor Who hasn't really been getting my jeans steaming lately, but I'm going to watch it. Whatever the Flux is, I'm in. So,
well, then you can tell us about it because I will not be watching that. No interest still.
We will tell you all about it. I hope it's a fun one-off Doctor Who Halloween special because that would be really cool.
I just wish I was getting excited when I see these things. I really do. Like, I want to be excited. I'm not trying to sound grumpy and cynical. I just don't care. Like, and neither does my cat.
So Evan, what the hell is this thing you posted from Deadline?
Before we get that, Wilmer Valderrama has no Google News saying that he's a horrible human being. So,
all right, must have heard that wrong. Or maybe it was the other guy.
No,
the guy who played Foreman's brother or something.
Yes, that guy was a douchebag. Hyde was a douchebag. Yes. This is okay because it is October. Is this season. We are not doing our 31 days of Halloween like we do normally on Geekade. So I thought, seeing as from now and between now and the next time we record, there's some things going on. I don't know how close we will be to recording because at the end of this month, Angie and I have an appointment that we have to be at
a very special place that happens to involve wedlock.
Kris will be there. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Angela and I are getting married. Anywho,
to each other.
To each other, yes. We haven't. We? I don't know if we're gonna we usually do
this
that.
Is news talk about
to
the Halloween,
the Halloween episode. Like we usually do that. So if we are not doing it, I wanted everybody to know because I thought this article was great. It's showing me every scary movie or television show that's on TV on all of the streaming services, and when they're available, that you can for this Halloween season. So,
including a supernatural marathon on Halloween. Thank you, TNT. I didn't know you still existed as a channel.
I mean, they're at the very bottom of this article is they didn't list anything from Amazon Prime, but at the end of this article, there is a link that takes you to what's current for Amazon this month, and there are a couple of scary movies and television shows on
and
there too.
Let me tell you, if you do need Amazon Prime content, I think it was called Killer Sofa. Yeah, look it up. You can thank me later.
And it's not even a sofa; it's a chair.
It's a chair.
It's a lazy boy,
it was definitely not the right title, but you know what? It was the right title because it fucking sold me.
So yeah, I thought this would be a neat little Halloween tip for our 6 listeners. So.
Thanks.
All right, duly noted. Well, that is going to do it for us. Well, it's definitely going to do it for me. You guys want to keep talking?
No, we're done.
Live the frickin' dream.
We're done.
But I am toast, so I am going to end this episode right now. This week's episode is not filmed before a live studio audience, but it is fueled by feedback from listeners like you, which is why I'm out of energy. And you can get in touch with us within a multitude of ways. We have an official Geekade Discord, where there's an entire This Week's Episode channel dedicated to all things TV talk. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the official Geekade channels or the more specific Twepcast accounts. And of course, the four of us can be found in various ways. I'm available on Twitter at Geekade Kris, that's Geekade Kris, and you can read my work at StoneAgeGamer.com and in the pages of Nintendo Force magazine. My lovely wife, who is unfortunately not here and hopefully is fast asleep by now, can be found on various social media platforms at shoot_the_moon. Angie, where can people find you?
They can find me at my website. All my socials are listed there. My website is angelafernot.com.
And what about you, Evan?
Geekade
Your
Evan
vast
all over
internet
the place.
presence.
Geekade_Evan all over the place.
If you need to know more about this show we discussed tonight or what we'll be watching in the future, have a look at our show notes. And if you have any other questions at all, we can always be reached at mail@geekade.com. Just look at the words "this week's episode" in the subject line so we know who you're trying to reach. This show is available anywhere fine podcasts are sold, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. And wherever you decide to listen, please comment, like, subscribe, and leave reviews, because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. Again, as always, keep your eyes on geekade.com for more fresh, original content. Back to me. So what the hell was our homework?
Hold on. I have this. I have notes. Really should have thought about it.
Wasn't it?
Wrote song about it. Like to hear it goes.
Girls 5 Eva, season 1,
That's
episode
right. Yep.
4.
Yep.
That's what I had to look up. I remembered it was Girls 5 Eva. I just couldn't remember what episode.
All right, well, there's your homework, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you all from the bottom of our hearts. And that's going to be it. So, I'm Kris.
I'm Angie.
Dumbass.
Good night.
And this concludes our broadcast day.